Welcome to a video of Seibert Media. I have two guests. Hi, how about you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Martin Seibert, co-CEO of Blended Perspectives.
I'm Kathy Rivard. I'm an Atlassian consultant at Blended Perspectives.
And you've taken quite a long journey to come to Wiesbaden, Germany, from Toronto, right?
That's right, yeah.
Why did you do that?
For a long time, we've watched Seibert Media build products that have been well received, we think, and it's really helpful to spend some time with your staff to get a proper picture of what your clients have achieved with that software, and for us to go through a process of ensuring that we have good familiarity not just with the business problem but how to solve those problems.
Mm-hmm. So basically for us it's mainly three topics. So there's Draw.io, a pretty simple product. Most partners, and I think it was similar with you, already know it and know how it's working. So the main goal for us is getting your customers, for example, if they use Glyphy, to switch to Draw.io and then show you how this is working. Then we have Linchpin, an intranet solution based on Confluence. And this is pretty new Agile Hive, a safe solution for Jira. And I would want to maybe ask Kathy a little bit about Linchpin and the Confluence side of things that you've seen here. Can you tell a little bit about like what it is, maybe interesting for customers,
Sure.
and what you value in that, and maybe also I can ask again, but as from a partner's perspective, like if I am an Atlassian partner, like Blended Perspectives is, what's it worth like taking a journey? You've been here since Monday, right? It's a full week of two people, and I assume you're fully booked in Toronto, right?
Yes,
sure. So
it's a big commitment, actually.
Yeah, it's not a bogus thing to do, right? So how was the Linchpin and Confluence part?
So it's a really impressive suite that I can see very easily the appeal to your corporate communications, to the people who are interested in that intranet, all the internet capabilities to enhance communications in their company, but who want something that looks very appealing, very professional, but at the same time want the content creators and the people who are going to, kind of carry forward with the configuration to not have to be developers, right? To not have really advanced technical skills. That's something that I've always appreciated about Confluence, opening it up to content creation, and I think that's one of its main selling points. So, it's still Confluence. It still has all of those great features and low barriers to non-technical people to use the tool, but it really does help you shape Confluence in a particular way that's going to appeal very much to the people who do have a vision for how they want to communicate with their employees.
Yeah. So we see a lot of clients that have an unstructured site. It's effectively a team-centered tool where the teams they just kind of coexist in the space. There's no sort of communication outwards between those teams. There's no use of that tool by the corporation, and at the same time they have some other system that often they're frustrated with, and they're looking for something else. And whereas you can theme Confluence, and there are many successful cases where that's just something you want to do from a visual standpoint. From a communication standpoint, and getting sort of teams of teams to intercommunicate in a structured way, I think Linchpin really sets itself apart.
Yeah, I like especially your description where like we were thinking of a picture where you have this entrance hall full of marble. Every pixel, you wouldn't say in a physical environment, but every like square centimeter is planned out and shiny and polished.
Sure.
So that would be kind of the Linchpin dashboard, where everything is in control, fully personalized, and so on. And then you have the dirty factory floor where things actually happen, where work gets done, where actually like value creation is created, and sometimes it's loud, it's dirty, it's redundant, which is also a problem of conference, right? That people just create the same content in this space and then that space, and then they try to merge it and it doesn't work, and or they don't even understand, or things get old. So all these like things that make people hate, I would summarize it as chaos. Can be kind of be hidden under the carpet in Germany, would say, where you try to separate like the top-down communications that you have in control and the real value. I think the cool thing in that combination is that you get a lot of attention to the entrance hall. You get a lot of people pass it, and that's basically what top-down communication wants to do, right? You want to reach people. And the best thing to reach them is at work, where they actually need to go to get things done. Did you learn something? I've been hearing that you've been so well prepared that Adil, our partner manager, thought, we had to kind of revise the agenda and talk about different stuff because I think you guys have been looking into Linchpin already so deeply.
Yeah, we have used Conference for more than 10 years, right? And advised clients on many different scenarios. So I think it is fair to say that we pushed your team to ask them hard questions, and I think that it's been a really good exchange of perspectives, because it's really when we get to push you and you get to push us that we start to create both a deeper relationship and a better set of insights as to what each other needs going forward.
So there are other partners looking at that, or also expert customers who know Linchpin inside out already. What's the thing that you still find impressive there, like from a feature perspective or a conceptual perspective? And what's something where you think, this could be better in Linchpin?
I think personalization sets Linchpin apart from everything else, right? And it is deeply profile driven. It is the sorts of things that really the big organizations need, and the small ones frankly don't, right? When you are in multiple locations and you have multiple languages, and you really don't know the people around you, and you would never meet them all because you're tackling the vastness. Having some way to sort of slice dice and make sure that if you have a request, it reaches the right person is invaluable. And the fact that Linchpin, the manager aspect of that, can coordinate all these very sort of disparate things is really a testament to the job that you've done with it.
Okay, that's the good part.
What do you want to say about gaps, Kathy?
I mean, I definitely appreciate the effort that's going in to make the administrative experience more streamlined, so that we can spend more time on the value add of helping people actually figure out the architecture. Because, of course, although we appreciate kind of the need to help with configuration, sometimes that cuts into the time that you need to actually understand the architecture, because this is not something that you should whip together on the back of a napkin in a couple of hours. So I think from our perspective, this is going to give us an opportunity to spend more time on that aspect of things. But there are still things in the administrative interface. We have, fortunately, the team's been very open to our feedback on, to a native English speaker, some of the terminology is not what we would expect. We can see having to, we had to kind of think a couple of times about what was that exactly? I didn't kind of get that. There was a few things that were Mac centric, and for example, I'm not a Mac user, so I missed some things.
What the icon might mean or something.
Yeah, I missed sort of an icon or some lingo. But very great to be able to provide some feedback on that.
That's right, and there were some sort of things I believe are already in the backlog about some terms like tokens where you have to put the same string in over here, and you might not know. And especially if that task is distributed amongst a lot of people, you wouldn't know that someone else had already renamed it over here, so you'd have to do a lot of upfront planning, which would mean that reconfiguration could be more difficult.
Yeah, we're especially in this translation thing, we're in a situation where things are still pretty complex, and also like as you said, like I think one of the feedback, which is, in my opinion, invaluable and also a little bit awkward. We have an events page where you could sign in to the event,
yes.
but you said, "Oh, wait a minute, we should rather say sign up for the event."
Sign in is something very different.
And in Wiesbaden, Germany, both works just seamlessly.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
well, sign up is like in the future I want to do that thing. Sign in is you are there now and you're signing into the event.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, so that's something that once I read it, I thought, oh, sure, but I've been signing in to those events probably hundreds of times and never got that, and it needs this native language. And there are actually mother tongue speakers on the teams, but also they kind of missed it. So thank you for that. Thank you also for openly sharing stuff that could work better. Was it worthwhile? Like you knew Linchpin beforehand. Was it worthwhile spending half of this week diving deeper? Did it give you like a better experience in delivering?
What I will say, because I
plan?
had done Linchpin installs, right? What I will say is that actually having someone else on the team such that we can both go back and discuss, that provides a different dimension to it, right? Because it creates a conversation, and I believe that a lot of knowledge is actually held in conversation space between people. So that, you know, if I'm reading about a thing and I don't necessarily remember exactly what it was, or I had an interpretation, then there's a sounding board, and I think that you know, Kathy would turn to me and I would turn to Kathy first, and I think that's the way that we would build knowledge internally, because we'd have a meeting internally, bring other people into that meeting such that they could use us both as a sounding board and expand the team that way.
That sounds like the yes that I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't get so I spend a lot of time with customers. For me, the opportunity to also spend some dedicated time learning about things that, yes, I knew a little bit, but I've learned a lot more in a very concentrated time frame is like really invaluable. And I don't get the chance to talk to have so much time with like a few other Confluence nerds who like love Confluence as much as I do. So I don't get that very often I get that like in bits and pieces, and certainly I have colleagues that are the same. Yeah. But it's just it's very energizing to also think that.
Yes, and it's also you're focused on the use case, right? So that leads you through like, okay, let's understand what value looks like for a customer. Let's look at how you might set all that up. Let's look at some of the challenges. Let's look at why those challenges exist, how you might mitigate them short term, and what you do about them strategically. So I think that's really helpful.
Agile Hive is still pretty new for us in making sure that partner can deploy and deliver it. How was that experience for you?
Exciting would be the shortest answer. I think that it's I think that you have a really nice vision of how to do in Atlassian tools a safe implementation, right? I understand that it has been successful in quite a lot of the companies. That it's I was going to call it a prototype, but it's really not, right? I mean, yes, it's true that you will re-architect how things are done, but the tools that are based on are very mature tools that we are very familiar with, right? So the overlay of doing safe in Jira and Confluence for us is like, okay, so you've taken the methodology, you've mapped it onto tools that we know and love, and okay, we can do that.
Yeah, and I just this morning I got an introduction to this strategy thing that the team built. Strategy room that the team built around this Agile Hive Safe solution for onboarding. Let's say the management board of a company. That you've seen that before me. It was kind of envious on that. But it also shows that the product is pretty hefty developed at this point, and I was very happy to see that you could receive that so easily, and also like see that in your customers' environment so easily.
To me, it's a huge differentiator that it's Jira plus Confluence, right? A lot of the other PPM solutions that you can adapt to Safe, like they're Jira-centric.
Yeah.
Right? And not to say that people wouldn't kind of fit Confluence in, but you've designed it with it's Jira and Confluence together, knowing that Jira isn't enough for everything, especially in Safe. It's a very, there are a lot of kind of rules of the road. And there's particular methodology and like sequence to do things, and as you say, the buy-in from the executives, like the higher levels, and it is really key that it's both.
Confluence is excellent here because it's the executives that drive the narrative, right? And Confluence supports narrative.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
When it gets down to, okay, so here are the things that need to get done, Jira supports the process, right? So it's that flow back and forth that creates it as a very powerful and sort of native solution to the Atlassian world.
Which of those two, or let's say three things, do you think your customers will flock to the easiest? Like switching Liffey to Draw.io, or upgrading your Confluence team software to become the corporate intranet, or upping my Jira for my developers as a safe solution?
That's an interesting question. From what I understand, moving, if people like the user interface of Draw.io and they like the value proposition price-wise of Draw.io, then it's not a complex thing.
Yeah, it's a one-click converter, right? That will we saw that happen in massive installations.
So from an organizational change standpoint, if you've got the buy-in of the users, that has to be the easiest thing to do. No one ever said Safe was going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
So, however, there is huge market demand, and I think that given the right sort of organization, sort of consulting organizations, to help customers work with the methodology, work with a tool, and make transformation really happen. I think we're in a really great position. I say we, both for Seibert Media and for Blended Perspectives, because I think how we're quite special to our customers is that we have a strategic view of what the organizations are trying to do. We have a really good appreciation of Jira and Confluence and how this mapping stuff should be applied. And we have great relationships with transformation, both external partners and our consulting lead ourselves, right? So I think that it's a great, I like to say, market moment, because all these customers are trying to do it. They already have tools that are based on Confluence and Jira, and there's going to be a segment of customers for which Agile Hive will be a really good value proposition.
Yeah, cool. Kathy, as a Atlassian partner, you're focusing on being the neutral and independent partner that is agnostic of products that are created, while we as Seibert Media, for example, always are biased to kind of resell our own technology. How does that help a Canadian customer today in general, and in specific for Safe and intranets in the Atlassian world?
We are I think when people are asking for us for like kind of advice, or when we're looking for, to how best to answer their needs, often they're asking us for, what's your experience with, have you done this before? Have other people asked you about this? How have you recommended? So because we are not necessarily just trying to sell our own, apps, because we don't develop them, we have tried various options. And so we do kind of look for best of breed, or the right thing for that particular circumstance.
Yeah.
So we can draw upon in our whole team examples of, a variety of examples of not necessarily just one tool, but, we tried this one here because of this. We tried this one here because of this.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing I always find from customers is that they find more credibility when you give them an example of someone else who's done something and you've helped them solve the problem. So they're not just asking for our opinion, they're also looking for us to give them, they want sort of somebody else already tried this and it worked for them. Okay, it's more credible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I especially like, maybe I can shout out for that, like in the recent past, you've analyzed, for example, the marketplace, and your colleague Miles gave a talk at an event that we held. There's a video out there. I think it's the burger.
A side of diagramming with that burger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. However, it's a marketplace analysis where you look at how do marketplace apps develop, and it was really, for me, a very good testament on, they really look at the data, they really look at the different things, and they don't just say, I was in Wiesbaden, so now I'm going to sell their shit.
It's
because
very important.
The water was nice.
Yeah, so it's really important for us. Like we stand by our motto being objective and independent, right? So we need to look at the data, we need to understand what's happening, and paint a strategic picture of, if you are doing testing, then sure, there might be these 5 things on the marketplace, but it doesn't mean that number one is going to be best for everybody, right? And then to help you understand the decision tree as to what it is about your organization, what it is about the apps that are in consideration, to help you fit the right app to your organization, and recognizing that, as a solution partner, it's our job to find a solution that works for you, and that has to be unbiased, because there's so many good things out there, and it's, an app vendor can support the functionality of their app, but a solution is much broader. So actually bridging the various pieces together and having the responsibility to make sure it all works, I think we excel at that.
Yeah, cool. Let's make this a shorter pitch. When I'm looking at Agile Hive, Draw, or Linchpin, why should I contact Banner Perspectives?
I think that we have really good understanding of the breadth of the needs in an organization, right? I think we have great executive communication and understanding, and that we are really good at understanding the business problems and breaking it down, building out and delivering on a regular cadence, a proper communication. So, if you want to deal with large amounts of money, and frankly our customers are willing to pay us that, we have to be really clear about how we spend their money, help them understand the risks if there are them, help them deliver to their stakeholders value and the messaging that they need throughout, so that people aren't disappointed. I think that we're a really professional Atlassian-centric consulting shop, and a lot of, to be a solution partner, even to be a platinum solution partner, doesn't necessarily require that you take a professional approach to consulting, but that's what we do.
You're from Toronto in Canada. Can you tell us a little bit about which regional markets you serve? Where can I come from as a customer? Japan is probably not the best place.
I think North America is the short answer to that, and certainly we leading in Canada across. We do work across in all of the provinces. Also, Northeast and Central US, I think we've done a good amount of work, and it's not far for us to go.
Yeah.
Right. So we have staff in the US.
How is it? New York is an hour flight.
It's nothing.
While Vancouver is much further, like
that's right.
Distance.
That's right. Yeah. So we have people in various places, but Toronto is our home. And most of our people are there. So traveling, Chicago, New York, Boston, very easy for us.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's not only jet lag. There's a lot of opportunities out there for Atlassian partners. If you're an Atlassian partner, please feel invited to look at Linchpin and Agile Hive yourself and trial. And if you're a customer from North America, you should definitely look at Blend Perspectives and see what they can do. And it's obviously more than products that we create.
Right.
But they won't become part of this video. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.